From Orange County and the campus of Chapman University, this is the Chapman Business Report.
On this segment of the Chapman Business Report, Pete Weitzner joined by Shan Steinmark as we continue to look at entrepreneurship these days, and maybe no better person, at least in Orange County, to talk about that with, because you're the new director of the Leatherby Ctr for Entrepreneurship and Business Ethics. So first of all, welcome. You're Californian by way of the Midwest, so welcome aboard and congratulations on the new gig.
Nice to be here. It's been a great pleasure. People have been coming over the transom to see me ever since the first week, and so all I have to do is say yes to all the talent that shows up.
Well, we want to talk, obviously devote our time to talk about entrepreneurship, but quickly your background, because it's 40 years in business and not necessarily in inventing or being startups. You were a traditional business consultant?
Non-traditional.
Well, you seem non-traditional. The tie is non-traditional.
I started off to be a clinical psychologist, and accidentally my second year of grad school I started a consulting business because some people liked what I was doing in the field of assertion training. They thought it applied to leadership development, so I started helping corporations. And then frankly, I learned a lot from my clients about business. I've never had a business course, and so mostly learned from clients how to do leadership development, how to do strategic planning, how to do crisis management, and so forth. So
those things you're talking about, leadership development, strategic planning, maybe two of the things you think especially young businesses fail on? Or better get right?
For sure, one of the ways that startups will fail is the founders will not get along. They'll have some kind of breakup. So that's very common. Strategic planning's kind of taken some funny turns in the entrepreneurship world. There's sort of a decline in the emphasis on business plans and more of an emphasis on things like what they call the business model canvas, shorter term frames of planning, so getting out a minimum viable product, for example, and not spending as much time in planning. And as Steve Blank says, get out of the building, talk to potential customers, but spend less time planning, more time doing.
It occurs to me that I work at a film and television school, and a generation ago that was not necessarily an educational career of choice. Get a job as a gaffer somewhere, get a job as a page, and just like you did it in business. And it occurs to me a generation later, entrepreneurship has become that at a lot of colleges. That your chances are you're not going to get hired. Oh, there's still some fields like accounting and whatnot. You're going to be an entrepreneur from the get-go.
Well, actually, what we're trying to do at Leatherby is prepare students in several ways to be entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, to be with small businesses, large businesses, and to work with steady growth or rapid growth companies. So we want them to be prepared for what's out there. One of the more common career paths is actually going to be to experiment with entrepreneurship while they're with us, go out and maybe have a regular job, work inside a corporation or maybe another startup, but not their own startup. And then 5-10 years later, they get the bright idea and say, now I want to go out on my own. And frankly, their odds of succeeding with that path are better than if they, start in college and continue straight through. They're going to go through some failure experiences almost invariably.
Because it's not, and there are, of course, 4-year degrees in entrepreneurship. Yep. Here it's a center. Explain that.
Well, it's a good question. I'm not sure I can.
But you mentioned that it is not a four, by virtue of the setup and this launch labs, which we'll talk about, it's not a four and done. You can be tethered, and not tethered, you can be connected to Chapman's entrepreneurship program for a number of years.
So we have undergrads and grads, and we have a fair number of alumni, actually. And as long as one member of the team has some connection to Chapman, then, we're likely to take them. But there's all kinds of paths, I guess is the point, that people can start as undergrads, continue straight through in entrepreneurship. But again, the more likely path and probably one of the more successful paths is you go out and get some experience and apply that to your idea and your learning process, and you're becoming a leader. It's a little tough to be a leader at 22. It can be done, but going out and getting some experience with another leader, shadowing that leader, observing that leader, modeling that leader is sometimes what's.
Well, talk about these student teams that you have.
Okay, so what we would like to see, doesn't always happen this way, is that you have a complementary team. You have somebody who's technical, somebody who's maybe more marketing, somebody who's an overall business integrator. What we tend to get is 2 technical people, 2 business people, And so we're always encouraging people to broaden their teams to have a more well-rounded and what they call complementary team. Those kinds of teams tend to be more successful.
What have you, so you've been here just a short time. Can you tell right from the outset, can you tell the winners and tell the ones that might have, because the teams are roughly how many people usually, or it depends on the product?
2-3
right?
is a good number. We have some teams that are larger, but that's probably the typical number. The honest truth is I can't tell at all. I'm not sure anybody really can. I think once we see them over a longer period of time, if we get behavioral observations over 2-3 months. In fact, the whole reason people have shifted from angel investing to accelerator investing is you get a snapshot in the beginning, and if you give them money up front, then you're taking a huge risk, whereas an accelerator will say, we'll give them a little money now, observe them and coach them for 3 to 4 months, and then we decide on putting more money in. It's a much safer bet to
Well, I think you're talking about the Leatherby Ctr roadmap. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Chapman version of the Shark Tank, California Dreaming, lots more mentoring, lots more to talk about with Shan Steinmark on our next segment on the Chapman Business Report.